on being the toughest test in America. And a couple guys were going low. I think Rory started off on the hard side and on the back and did well. So I think Wingfoot's gonna be mad. Basically, is my point.
We are live.
We're gonna hear ourselves in the.
I just muted it. No, that is some additional bonus material. All right, guys, let's do this. Episode, what are we? 660 live in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host live from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Praino.
Hello, Andy.
And joining today's threesome via Santa Monica, California, the one and only Tug Coker.
Hello, Andy.
Ooh.
Hello, Joe.
Hello, Tug.
I just want to say, first time I've been on with Joe being announced as being from Los Angeles, California.
Yeah,
things are changing.
We're doing the now undisclosed location in the Southland area.
Ooh, well, that's a first tip he's given.
The Southland is pretty wide-ranging.
It is.
You know, that's what they say on the news. It's like the tri-state area, metropolitan Los Angeles. Come on, there's a couple of clues that can give this away, but for now, you know, I want to limit the amount of rifle-owning lunatics that take umbrage with the idea that all men are of equal stature. I just want to, like, you know, there's some dirtballs that are very upset. Hey, they're only 3/5 of a human, and if you don't like it, I'm going to show up outside your door.
Well, we're all here, guys. We're back, separated by
2,000 miles.
Yeah, 2,000 plus.
Joe just moved a little further away from me. Like this, times are tough right now. It's difficult times here.
We are concerned. Tug looks like he might have just left rehab. How you doing?
Well, the listeners should know that before we jumped on, I was a wreck. You know, I couldn't get my computer to start. I was throwing yogurt all over my computer, dropping kids off at school, all in an effort because I've been up since 3:30 because we're getting ready to launch, as you guys know.
Actually dropping kids off at school, not.
Yes, not figurative dropping off kids. Although the Cleveland Browns do play tonight, it's a nice segue. Dropping my 4-year-old off at preschool, and I'm in an effort to you guys. I wanted to break the news here first. I'm going on a little mini press tour in the coming weeks, and but you know, you guys have been with me from the beginning to announce that, you know, Now We're Talking is going to launch today on the CW Seed, and eventually I think go to the CW, but we're starting, you know, at CW Seed, and thanks to everyone for staying with me as I come on every show for the past 2.5 years, saying it's coming soon, and today's the day. So hopefully around noon, it'll be launched, and I'm ready to show the world what I've been working on.
For the less technologically advanced dirtball, how does one get? What is the CW Seed? How does one get it? Where does one find it? What do I need?
I really appreciate that question. CW Seed is basically a place where, by and large, they've housed shows that were made by Warner Brothers or CBS. So you'll see shows like Schitt's Creek on there, and then it comes as one of the more modern comedies. It's on there, and it's an ad-driven free network. So if you have an Apple TV or a Roku or Smart TV or Fire Stick or whatever, just download the CW Seed app and look for Now We're Talking. Hopefully they'll be promoting it in the first few weeks of the its run, and it's free, and it's also on the .com or computer. So there's a bunch of ways to get it for free. Also, as I said, Schitt's Creek, and there's some old school comedies like things we forgot about, like Everybody Hates Chris.
Oh yeah,
and a few deep dives into the comedy world. So, but we're happy to have a place to house it. You know, you guys are in it for a hot second. I got a hot trailer with you guys in it, and then I have a bonus interview that we all improvised that I'm going to cut and put out to the world. And Joe is particularly mean to me in that interview.
That.
I know it'll be a fun surprise for you. So thanks to everybody for staying with me, and follow me on my Instagram and Twitter for a bunch of great stuff in the weeks to come.
And will season 1 and 2 be there?
Correct. Season 1 and 2 will both be on there. You can see, I think they did a cool job of compiling all the short form stuff into 3 episodes. A lot of great athletes and actors on the show. Andrew Hawkins, Sean Merriman, all friends of the show, Ryan Grant, Plexico Burris, Joe's boy, Lance Briggs, and Kerry Champion. The list goes on and on. So anyway, I just want to get that plug out of the way as my first official stop on the PR tour.
And let me reiterate real quick. It's CWSEED, just CW Seed.
That's correct. And at some point in the near future, because nothing's been easy with the show, they're gonna end up merging the CW and the CW Seed, so you'll be able to find it on one platform. But for right now, it's CWSEED. It's very simple to do. Even my parents were able to add it to their Apple TV. And hit me up. I used so many of Andy's resources. Charlie Ryan, Nick D'Alessandro, Jared Lloyd, all my guys to help make some stuff. We got gifts out in the world. It's a real television show. And I as I was making it for season 2, I was obviously thinking about the dirt balls. So thank you.
My favorite part, Joe, is he did that whole plug with, I think, is yogurt on the bottom of his lower left lip.
I almost said that. He was like, it's so easy. My parents could do it. I was like, you need your parents here to clean that oikos off your lip.
It's still there. It's the upper lip, Tug. It's like upper left lip.
I'm sure it might be in my mustache now too.
It's in your mustache.
You got a ticket to ride there with your 80s stockbroker look.
Hey, what's McConaughey? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
well, Tug, this is very exciting. It really is, and like you said, it's a long time in the making, and Joe and I were happy to be a very small part of it, but it was great to be on set one day, and really looking forward to all the dirt balls of binge watching. Now we're talking seasons 1 and 2 on the CWC.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. It's a big day. Obviously, you guys were there for a bunch of interviews, so you'll hear your voices in some of the behind the scenes stuff. And some of the clip of one of the opening montages. You guys were in it with like all these other broadcasters and sports personalities: Chris Broussard, Thomas Jones, Ryan Grant, Olivia Harlan, Andrew Hawkins, and then you guys. So it's the elite.
And to segue into the show, I wonder how many of these professional sports talking heads have been calling for Doc Rivers to be fired for a decade. I wonder if you think it's just me?
I 100% thought about you this entire last 48 hours because, you're willing to throw a lot of takes out to the world, but the one you would say you stick to a lot of your takes, but this one has been loud and clear, and you're allowed to take a big victory lap for what we saw 2 nights ago. He raises his hand for people who were just listening to the show. Victorious.
I mean, again, I say, even a successful season with Doc here, like had they gone to the Western Conference Finals, had they gone to the NBA Finals, I really think with the roster that they had, anything short of a championship kind of continues to expose Doc. I know he has a championship, and a lot of people have talked about that being maybe not enough with the team he had, but like the resume of 3-1 blown 3-1 leads now there's 3 of them on his resume, and he just continues to underachieve with teams. I mean, this Clippers team was expected to. I mean, they were the Vegas favorites to win it.
Favorite, yep.
They lose in the second round and they blow a 3-1 lead. How do you, like, if you're ownership, how do you just say Doc Rivers is going to continue to be our coach? Like, how do you do that?
I have to agree. As a Boston Celtics fan, where Doc did get his championship, as you said, there's only been 13 teams to overcome 3-1 deficits. And Doc has been at the wrong end of 3 of those. And what's worse, there's so many pieces to break down with this. Let's take the first part, just the competitive aspect. They're actually leading in every game. They're blowing the Nuggets out, and then they have meltdown second halves.
Defensive wizard Doc Rivers.
Defensive wizard, like Jamal goes off. Like there's no like let's cut their heads off mentality. Let's finish them while they're down. They looked lackadaisical, and everyone's talking about like team chemistry, but like you out with you out with a random five on a court. You know how to beat a team down. Come on. Go ahead.
I would real quick. That's all. That's just coaching. I'm not you guys. I would say you guys definitely have a better basketball IQ than me and better knowledge. I think as someone who still watches it, I was thinking this the other day. That's coaching. Like you said, Tug, he is at the wrong end of 3 of the 13. The facts don't lie. He can't get his teams ready to play when he has to. They don't perform up to their ability. And I just don't know how anybody can defend him at this point. And I want to add one more point is that Joe and I discussed this last episode, and I was very adamant about this when the year started. Don't underestimate losing franchises, turning it around. It's not easy. And the Clippers still have never made a conference finals. And that's why when the season started, I said they're not going to make the finals because they're a losing franchise. People don't realize how hard that is to change that mindset.
Well, what's the culture there? I mean, they're in Staples now. Doc Rivers, new roster, new ownership, new uniforms. Like, what is this? I got to put this on Doc Rivers, but way more. And honestly, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, like the guy that everybody told me, oh, he's going to carry every team. You build around him. He's the best player. He's the best all-around player in basketball. He proved it last year. He's better than LeBron, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about that they have some relation to the San Diego Clipper ships. Like, what does this have to do with anything that's gone on in their past, from Sterling to...
Well, Joe, I'm not excusing Doc. What I'm saying is they're still... No one cares about the Clippers in LA. I don't care what anybody says. They're still little brother. They're always going to be little brother. You and I have both agreed they should move to San Diego. And my point is, you take these organizations like the Browns, the Bengals, the Lions, the Clippers, even like a Cleveland Indians who've come so close. It's like, until you win it, man, until you make that jump, I think it's still in the back of people's heads. As great as Kawhi was last year in Toronto, you're going to a fundamentally disappointing organization. And again, I'm not making excuses for Doc. I'm just saying Clipper's going to Clipper, in my opinion.
I'm going to quibble that point a little bit, just to jump in. Sorry, Joe. Only because this year feels like the year where they should be removed from that, right? Like they're in a bubble. Like they're not playing in LA. You know what I mean? They're playing on the road where they're up. Like, we can make excuses about the organization all we want. Joe hit it on the head. Like Kawhi and what is it? Playoff P, excuse me. That's 0 points in the fourth quarter.
Way off
of the game. Way off P, exactly. Like, and so not only where I see organizational issues is they tried to do like the dream teams, the Eagles from a few years ago. They tried to assemble like all-star pieces. Like Reggie Jackson hasn't worked anywhere.
Yeah.
So trying to add that, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then you get way off P, and like you give up your whole future. We all know that like he's not. He has issues. You know what I mean? It's a risk. So
and to me, the major hole in their roster, aside from coaching, aside from like being built around 2 guys that are kind of exactly the same, like. Playoff Paul George is like a watered down Kawhi. This is a guards league, and they don't have a guard that is good.
And not only that, like you look at like the plus minus, and this is a squarely on Doc. Like when Montrez was on the floor, they were like minus 40 or something. And when Zubac was on the floor, they were plus. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like don't even worry about the guys right now. Win the series. So
I like Montrez, but you have to play the matchups. I mean, look at what Vogel did, man. In their last series, what's the guy's name? The Shaqtin' a Fool. The fucking
JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard don't get minutes at all. He's like, D'Antoni's playing small. I'm not going to play. What's the reason to have just a 7-footer in the middle of the floor that I don't need to guard anybody? I have a feeling those guys will come back and play significantly more minutes now that they have Jokic to deal with. Like, for Doc Rivers not to change his rotation based on the team he's playing, that's varsity high school basketball coaching.
Yeah, every coach is doing it. I mean, you saw Brad Stevens, with the Celtics, like, putting in Robert Williams in the last series, showing a lot more Grant Williams, who's like 6'6" at the center, just to get some outside shooting and stretch 4-5. Like, we don't know how we're going to see these rotations, but you're so right. He kept going back. We saw the same thing actually with Quinn Snyder. It's like maybe the Nuggets have some sort of mind meld on these coaches, because everyone they get set in their ways because they're up 3-1, right? They're like, we're up 3-1. Let's keep doing what's working.
Yeah.
And then the bottom falls out, and they don't like adjust for like minutia, like one game, one half, one quarter. So I mean, this is all to say, like, I think we all like Doc. Seems like an amazing person.
I said
right?
He could be the commissioner of basketball. He could be he could be the president of the players union. He could be the GM of the Clippers. He could be president of the United States. He's a great guy. But his greatness as a guy comes across whenever he talks, but what never comes across is a strategic basketball mind. I mean, I joked because they have that, and obviously I know these coaches don't give away their strategy adjustments in, the sideline interviews between quarters. But even when you see inside the huddle, it's a lot of Doc going like, play hard, keep trying, trust in your teammates. It's like, I don't need a fucking motivational speaker. I need you to tell me what to do.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, I should ask Tug what we talked about last episode. Has anyone lived off their one title more in all professional sports for the longevity that Doc has?
Joe Flacco or Trent Dilfer. No, it's good. It's a good comp. That's a great question. I have to think about that one. But yeah, Doc. What's interesting about that is Kawhi is now playing. I think we've all, who knows really if Nick Nurse is like an elite coach, but I think we've all learned that he's a really good coach. And so Kawhi has had the luxury of playing with Popovich and Nick Nurse. And now we get to the Doc situation where he seems to be more of a, Doc won a championship because Garnett is a authoritarian figure. He's not, Kevin Garnett's going to he's sort of like a coach on the floor. He's very vocal, whereas Kawhi and Paul George are not. So maybe it worked for Doc because he was like, I'm a player's coach, but what I'm successful when I have an extension of me, basically keeping everyone in line, keeping Rondo in line, maybe this doesn't work, you know what I mean?
And for Kawhi, on the Kawhi front, like, again, great guard play in San Antonio, great guard play in Toronto, where he is, able to score when he needs to. He's great at getting a big bucket. He's great at playing defense. He's great at whatever, but he's not LeBron James. Don't give Kawhi Leonard the ball to bring up the floor and facilitate for everybody else and make great passes and get everybody involved in the game. Kawhi's great at taking the ball and getting a mid-range jumper when you need it, but you either need great guard play or you need a LeBron James who's essentially a 6'9" point guard and going to run your offense. But like the idea that here's Kawhi Leonard, you're in the driver's seat of this team is like, I don't want Kawhi Leonard in the driver's seat of my team. I want Kawhi Leonard sitting shotgun, ready to get a big bucket when I need him to.
Hey. When I
the Kawhi Leonard Fat Albert.
I was going to say that's a little Bill Cosby-esque right there, Tug.
Oh wow, that's a weird convergence. I didn't see that. Hey. Yes, it is. Oh no, I'm Bill Cosby. Oh no. What was I going to say? Is that both game 6 and game 7. Like game 6, I turned the game off, to do something else. It was a blowout in the third. It's crazy that this happened. I've never. So I agree with you. As much as I like Kawhi too, like those comparisons to LeBron, they've just got to stop, because I don't think LeBron would ever let that happen. It's too bad, honestly. I mean, I like watching the Nuggets. It's fun to watch them play. They kind of play like with they have a lot of good role players. But I think I'm sad in the sense that I would like to have seen if the Clippers could have gotten their energy together to beat the Lakers, like see that like inner city rivalry one time. But we'll never know.
Well, we got Lakers Nuggets. Now the Lakers won 3 out of 4 head to head this season. What do you guys think moving forward? I think Joe talked about JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Those big men I think are going to create more problems for the Nuggets, and they completely kept Jokic in check in those 4 games.
Yeah, I think, look, like I said about this Nuggets team, the Nuggets team does remind me a little bit of that Mavericks team that won. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They believe they can win. They've been down 3-1 twice. They came back to win. They're in a bubble. There's the whole, easier shooting in the bubble. There's the less pressure of the bubble. There's the playing with house money. So I don't think that the Nuggets should be looked over. Oh, the Nuggets beat the Clippers and now the Lakers going to roll. I do think the Lakers win, and I think the Lakers win because as great as Jokic has been, as great as Murray has been, I think the Lakers have the 2 best players in the series, and that's going to be hard to overcome. I think they have a lot of bodies to throw at Jokic. I think, who knows what we're going to get from playoff Rondo, but he's already better than playoff Paul George. And, you're going to be able to throw him at Murray and cause problems. And I just think there's just no way that the Nuggets are not kind of spent from 2-3-1 comebacks. I think it could be a good series, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Lakers in 5.
I feel similarly. I think Lakers in 5 feels right. I mean, Lakers always seem to be susceptible to that early game 1 loss. Maybe they'll get out ahead of it, and LeBron sort of sees the light at the end of the tunnel and says, the East may be in for a battle. Let's get this done. I just, Jamal Murray's probably going to get his again. I don't see anyone on the Lakers. Maybe Caruso with a little bit of size, trying to stop Jamal Murray, but I just don't see an answer for that. But like, how are they going to get multiple offensive weapons in this series? It just seems like you said, I think the Nuggets have played the Lakers 6 times in the playoffs as organizations. They've never won. They made it to the conference finals twice, beaten both times by the Lakers. I think this is probably going to be business as usual for the Lakers. And but what I will say is, like, I think we'll talk about the East, I'm sure, in a second, but like 4 really good coaches left. Like the quality of basketball, I think, will be pretty good because the coaches are really good.
Yeah.
So before we hop into the East, I want to share a quick now we're talking Nug, actually, Tug.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
we've built a couple of these into the show today, Tug.
Thank you. I paid for a sponsorship. I love it.
I don't know if you remember.
We're calling them now Nugs.
Praino, I don't know if you remember this, but when we were on set that day, it was in December of 2017. So LeBron had just, he was still, the season had basically just started that year with Cleveland. And I don't even remember, after I did the off-camera, behind the scenes interview with Carrie Champion, do you remember what she said about LeBron?
Said LeBron to the Lakers.
She's
no doubt about it.
She's like 100% he's going to the Lakers. And this is way, this is way early. Season was a month in, and I'm like, she's like 100% he's going to the Lakers.
You know what? She's close to the uninterrupted, and I think about this actually because she's never wavered off of that. So you're right.
Yeah. So it was like a good sneak peek of like, okay, let's see how this plays out. And sure enough, here he is trying to win his 4th title.
Thanks for that nug, guys. Nug.
It was a great now nug. Now your team, Tug, the Celtics, Tough
Right.
overtime loss. I'll be honest, I did not watch the game. I had some family matters, but amazing game. I saw the highlights. Obviously, the block on Tatum by Bam. Thoughts, fellas?
Magic
Insane.
Johnson calls it the greatest defensive play in the history of playoff basketball.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
He also tweeted, 2 great teams playing hard. One of them's going to win.
Yeah, he's
He's the most
unbelievable.
generic.
You need to get a Magic Johnson. Now we're talking review.
I should. He's a friend. He's a close friend of my home because I was lucky enough to do a show based on his life years ago. So I can't bash him too much, but his tweets are mocked widely on Twitter. But it was a great play. Let's people are talking top 3 blocks, Tayshaun Prince against Reggie Miller, LeBron, obviously in this. I mean, a couple thoughts. First thing I'll say is this: Game 2 is tonight. The Celtics were 1-point favorites going into Game 1. They're 2.5-point favorites now. So I'm very interested to see what happens. I'm very nervous for Jason Tatum because you think about Jason Tatum, who's 22 years old. He's probably been the best player in every age of his life. He's probably never had that situation ever. He dunked on LeBron 2 years ago. He yoked on LeBron in Game 7 of the conference finals. So to see this, and then the play before, Jimmy Butler gets an and one on him, like a get off me and one. So like 2 sequences in a row, Tatum kind of got his world rocked. So I'm very curious to see how he comes back. I mean, he's the second Celtic ever to have 25, 10, and 5 in a playoff game, since Larry Bird. So we all know he's good, but we need to know he's mentally tough tonight and comes back and seriously takes the game over. So I'm very curious to watch Tatum play. Incredible block. We gave that game away. We were up 12 in the 4th. I mean, Kemba has not been himself. Kemba does not look great in the playoffs. And, I'm wondering if his size is an issue. He's having trouble getting a shot off. He's not shooting well. So I'm nervous because the Heat are playing well. Jimmy Butler looks like a true alpha. And they've got so many good pieces. Spoelstra has done such a good job of doing what more teams need to be doing, right? Like have shooting, have scoring.
So much shooting.
I mean just have guys that can shoot the ball.
Late in that game, when the Celtics were up 12, the way that lead was cut down to 0 was 3s for 2s. I mean, it was math at the end there. It was. I mean, they were getting layups, and the Heat would come down and hit a 3. I mean, they cut that lead down 1 point at a time. It would be like, oh, the lead is 9, the lead is 11, the lead's 8 now. Oh, the lead's back to 10. Now the lead's 7. And you're like, dude, they're chipping away. Yeah. And they had those shooters, those guys. I mean, between Hero and Robinson, those guys are not afraid to take shots. And it's awesome.
It's probably the one team where I feel like everyone knows their role the best. Like Dragic knows what he has to do. Robinson, Olynyk, Bam. Like everyone just sort of says and that's a testament to. We're all kind of we didn't quite know how good Spoelstra was because he had, of the big 3. But the one thing that's amazing about Spoelstra and Riley is they never really had a complete tanky rebuild.
Right.
They just sort of kept floating around, and Riley's picking these guys off. I think Bam is 13 or 14th overall pick. Heroes in maybe a late lottery, I know his knock on coming out of, he was good against Kentucky, but he had short arms. That was the knock on him. Couldn't he defend? Yeah. He had short arms, but here he is taking big shots. Not only
we talk a lot about. We talk. I feel like the Popoviches and the Phil Jacksons, these guys get a ton of praise. Obviously, their coaching legacies from a title standpoint is hard to argue with, but in terms of the coach turned executive turned GM, Pat Riley's resume is pretty fucking legit. I feel like Pat Riley 100%. Isn't talked about enough about how great he has been every step of the way, from the Lakers to the Knicks to the Heat to ownership to building the team to turning it over to Spoelstra to like every move he has made. And honestly, slick Pat Riley doesn't have to rebuild because he sits back there. He does his interviews like he did in The Last Dance, where he's like inside a palm tree drinking a pina colada in a white linen suit. And he's like, I don't recruit free agents. Free agents come to me.
Well,
and not only that, like, you're right.
ESPN did a piece today on the rebuild, and I found myself, I'm glad you're bringing it up, Pat. I found myself on his Wikipedia this morning. And like Joe's saying, I mean, his resume is just so amazing. And let's not forget, guys, they were a lottery team last year. Like, this rebuild was instant. Now they're in the Eastern Conference. They're 3 games away from the NBA Finals.
Yeah. But it wasn't ever a full tank. That's my point. Like, it wasn't. They never been
right.
They never got the 1, 2, or 3 pick. They've been a late lottery.
Sure.
So it's not like they like devised a plan to like go 9-73. They're still trying to be competitive, and like you said, with a couple pieces, and also honestly, it's hard. It's hard to draft in the late lottery just after like that 10 to 20 range.
Yeah.
And because the Celtics are there a lot, and we've had some hits and misses, but they picked out a couple good players from that 10 to 20 range. And Pat Riley, you're so right. Like, the fun nugget about Pat Riley, obviously, NBA player, played at Kentucky. Was in the the famous game with like the color barrier, UTEP. He was on the Kentucky team. He was on the all-white team. So an unbelievable, when you look at the annals of like people in basketball and their careers, like Pat Riley maybe has one of the top 10 careers of all time.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
As a Knicks fan, it's another place where his sort of legacy is glossed over. Like, the curse of Riley. I mean, that was like trading Babe Ruth for the Knicks. I mean, they were competitive. They got to a finals. They get to another finals in the Jeff Van Gundy, Les Miles moment, where he just has the Pat Riley team and the Pat Riley system and does, a fake Pat Riley thing. But like, since Pat Riley left, and Pat Riley wants to stay with the Knicks and asked basically just for what he got in Miami. He's like, make me a part owner, make me the head of basketball. And the Knicks are like, no. And he's like, cool, they're going to give it to me. Bye. And what's happened to the Heat since then?
Yeah.
And that hair, man, the slick back Pat Riley hair, which by the way, not a single comment on my hair, guys. Not a comment. Nothing?
Well, I wanted, listen, full disclosure, you gave me a sneak peek. I didn't want to reveal it for you, but people need to know, the listeners need to know, back to fresh Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, the long stuff is gone. Now it's just me. I'm all alone.
Yeah. Shout out to Debbie from Salon 7 in the 5 Mile Center.
What up, Debbie?
I was definitely.
Meanwhile, Tug looks like Pat Riley if Pat Riley dabbled in South Beach's cocaine for like 3 consecutive months.
If Pat Riley was only doing rebuilds, that's what I was look like, right?
Not only did I get a haircut, but I got a fresh shave this morning after my run, thanks to my friends at Harry's Razors. Joe, look how good my face looks. Look how clean this looks, guys.
Look how young you took 5 years off your life.
So true.
I know. Guys, Harry's just came out with their sharpest blades ever. And unlike some other razor companies, they're not charging you more for their products. Harry's new sharper blades are still as low as $2 each. I need to send some of these new blades out to Tug. We need to get a nice fresh shave for him. Guys,
a new start.
Yeah, exactly. Brand new start for you. New U.S. customers can redeem a trial offer of Harry's new sharper blades by going to harrys.com/dirty. Guys, Harry's offers 100% quality guarantee on their blades. Joe and I have been using Harry's for about 6 years now. They never disappoint. So come on, join the Harry's team. Give Harry's sharpest blades ever a try. Harry's has an amazing offer. That's not what it says. Harry's has an amazing offer for listeners of our show. New U.S. customers can redeem a Harry's trial set at harrys.com/dirty. You'll get a 5-blade razor featuring their new sharper blades a weighted handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover to protect your blade when you're on the go. So right now, just go to harrys.com/dirty and redeem your trial offer today. Tug, are you excited that you get to watch Michigan lose to Ohio State again this year?
No, I was hoping we'd take a year off, kind of gather our thoughts. Oh, man. I just want to say, quick aside before, as you were reading your ad, I got a tweet notice from Tiger Tracker with a bunch of fireworks. And I thought of Joe Praino. I have no idea what's going on in Wingfoot, but that could be a sign that Tiger is alive. But we'll get to golf later in the episode very quickly. Yes, Big Ten football. It's back. Everyone they couldn't get the money. The money just meant too much to people. The money just means too much, guys. And, it's so funny. It's tough. It's such a tough position to be in, right? You see other conferences playing football. Now you do see big games being postponed because of COVID breakouts. But at the end of the day, Big Ten just needs the TV money, and they cater to some of the whims of not only like social media, but also players and players' parents. It's amazing that players' parents are like, I care more about playing football than our own life. So as a fan who will be watching from the bubble of my home, I'm excited. Do I think like people made the right decision? I don't know. It's not the NFL where your job is to basically stay away from people. So we'll see.
I'm out on college football this year. Bye. You guys are a bunch of fucking morons. I don't really even have a stake from the health perspective. It's either play or don't play. That's my like I don't care. I'm gonna join the Praino team of like I'm gonna spend my Saturdays with my family. I just like I don't. It's embarrassing how an entire conference or an entire sport is run with such inefficiency. So you're just now going to decide to play in October? Like I don't know. I just don't care anymore. Like I'm saying my piece now and I'll bitch about my piece now, but like, I'll be honest, I couldn't care less about even covering college football this year on our show, just because you either should have just played it or not played.
This is a great day for me. I've been arguing to ignore college football and college basketball for as long as I can remember. Maybe before I was saying Doc Rivers was overrated. Like to me, there's so many issues with college football in particular. College basketball I basically just don't like because I think the quality of play is horrific. But college football, like from not feeling like we got the right champion or not feeling like a team that could have won a championship got a shot, to the 5 weeks off between the end of the season and bowl games, between the cupcake scheduling for some of these conferences that then want to like go around boasting how they're the NFL minor leagues, to taking advantage of players, to like everything. Just like college football has been a sham for so long, and now like this isn't going to help crown a real champion. There is no Pac-12. The Big Ten is going to start late. Is there going to be any playoff? Like, can the Big Ten still be in the playoff because now they've started a month late, but it's okay because there's 6 weeks off between games anyway? Like, I really don't care.
Yeah. To be fair, though, the Pac-12 was never going to enter the national championship conversation. So it is a shot fired. It's the teams out here struggling on the West Coast.
But Tug, I think you always bring, some good perspective to these things. And because Joe and I are just, going to rant sometimes. Why should I, why I'm to the point in my life, and obviously I'm dealing with a lot personally, but when I see things just run so poorly and so just inefficiently, I don't care whether it's college football or a restaurant I go to or my healthcare provider, I'm not going to continue supporting that. Based on what we've seen since summer. Why should I support something that I deem is just a giant dumpster fire?
Well, I think, well, I don't know why. I don't know why you should specifically do that, but I think people are just so branded in to college football. And I said this a couple years ago on the show. I think of like sports or like college football or college sports as sort of like a casino, right? And they're like, you can walk away at any time, but we're betting against that because you have what is called human like emotion. You have nostalgia. It's all baked into this equation. Like everyone is so built into rooting for the structure and the organization, which is actually a metaphor for a lot of things in America. That it's just part of the fabric of what people do in America. And there's so many towns and countries across the U.S. that their only thing to do is root for the college team. The college team is the pro team for a lot of these people. So it's up to, again, the college players at some point have to get up and say, you know what, we're not gonna play no matter what happens because they have the power. The players still have the power,
but they're not utilizing it. That's another thing.
They're also teenagers.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I agree with this, but the teenagers are, there's the Greta Thunbergs of the world that are influencing some thinking. do we get a Greta Thunberg reference in Dirty Sports today?
I just love the idea of Greta Thunberg turning to college football as her next cause.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Being like, until old white men aren't in charge of every conference, we will not have football equality.
Remember when the Oklahoma State quarterback was saying something about Black Lives? Because remember when Gundy had a shirt on that was like very right wing affiliated shirt.
ONN Network, yeah.
Yeah, and he came out and said something, and the next day Gundy came out and apologized, and it was over. It's like we need more people to sort of say that's it's not enough. Like this real change has to happen.
But to me, I think you're hitting on something that I think, in my opinion, is all that's like a part of this whole problem of like you see it all the time on Twitter. It's like somebody says, which like as far as when I say on Twitter, it'll be like a company will be like, hey, we're changing the name of this. And you'll see like a response from somebody who's black and be like, that's cool. We didn't ask for that. We want others. Right. We want something
that's
change
the laws.
Yeah. We want something that's actually going to affect and help change. Right. So to me, I see you, Joe and I talked about it forever. You had you've never had it on a plate easier as players to change again the NCAA system forever and essentially eradicate the NCAA. And you guys are like, no, I'm just going to play 8 games in the Big Ten. Like, no offense. And I understand what Joe's saying about them being kids, but you stand for nothing. Like, you don't.
But they're also, not only are they, in my opinion, not only are they kids, but unlike the professional athletes, they don't even have the power of their name. Like, list 15 college football players. I don't know if I could list 6 college football players. I don't know if I could list 3 college football players. Trevor Lawrence is still in college. I mean, granted, I'm not the biggest college football fan, and so I'm sure a lot of people out there can name, every starter on Ohio State's offense. But like for the average sports fan, the headline has to read Oklahoma State's running back. It can't read that guy's name because no one knows who the fuck he is.
Good point.
And there's a lot of power in saying LeBron James demanded this, Giannis demands this, Aaron Rodgers said this, and that comes with all that it is to be a professional athlete, to be marketed, to be whatever. But and that's part of the scam. That's part of the scam is college football, and the NCAA isn't hoisting up these guys. They're hoisting up the brands and the schools, and it's the Ohio State football, and it's Duke basketball, and it's Mike Krzyzewski, and it's whatever. They're not putting the power in the hands of those players when they're there, and so those players don't really have any.
it really reminds me of like it's sort of a microcosm of what we're going through right now in America. Because as my one of my sports heroes, Tony Kornheiser, says, like, the answer to all your questions is money. And basically FOMO is real, right? Like, and the NCAA is saying you could like opt out, but we're betting that your experience as a collegiate athlete is only 4 years and you're going to lose one season. We're betting against you wanting to do that. And same with like the mask situation, not to get all political about masks, but it's like, if we just had a little self-discipline and just agreed like for 3 months to like, let's just do this. But money forces us to come out the door. Money forces us to like go to these, go out in the world. Like, and so it's just, it's unfortunate, but that's a political stance of mine. But however, as a viewer who's going to be socially distant and not leaving my house, I'm happy to watch Michigan and unfortunately lose to Ohio State for like the 11,000th year in a row.
But it is a political thing, and it is a political divide that is happening in this country, because I bet you the percentage of people that happily wear a mask in Pac-12 country and Pac-12 not playing football is significantly greater than people in Big 12 country that, voluntarily wear a mask. And of course, those seasons are going to go on. Big 10's going to happen. SEC is going to happen. Like, that is a political divide, and they're going to play their football and they're not going to wear their masks. And okay, let's see how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, if they're able to do it in a way that like the NFL's doing it, you know what I mean? Like, but you see like already on campuses, like there's thousands of people. It's not only the players, right? It's the other people congregating around the events. Like, there's just, to Andy's point, like, it's so poorly organized, and it's impossible for people to do that. You know what I mean? So we'll see. It'll probably make it. I'm sure it'll happen. Like, Coach O basically said his whole team has had coronavirus. Like, so we'll just see. But I guess as a fan, I'm excited. You guys are going to boycott.
Well, no, it's
I've been boycotting for a decade.
That's a great T-shirt. Boycotting college football.
I think Zoom is currently boycotting us because I don't know what's going on with our feed. Are we back here?
I would never lost you.
Okay. Well,
agree.
And I don't even want to say boycott. I think
you did though.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm saying I'm sure we'll lightly talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
But my point is, I just, and then I'll wrap it up with this. And Joe and I already talked about this. The best part of college football is the whole fanfare, is college game day, is the campus experience. Dude, you're taking that stuff away. You're eating an Aaron Moharis pizza. Like, it's not even a piece of pizza. You're taking cheese off the bread. Shout out to Twerks, by the way.
but it's all baked in the same thing, right? Like, it's college students are like, and I'm no different. When I was 18, 20 years old,
exactly. Yeah.
I just wanted to hang out with my friends and beer bong, you know what I mean? So it's like, basically the government is not, they're like, let's go ahead and do it because, people are going to do it anyway. So anyway, we move on.
Yeah. Let's talk baseball playoffs. They have a new setup that's going to happen this year. I don't know if you guys saw this. I added this late to the rundown. My apologies on that, Tug. But I'll just go over and I'll hear your guys' thoughts. They're going to do
Tug. See if you can keep up.
I will. I'll try.
They're going to basically do a bubble format. So real quick, the playoffs, the wild card. Now, once again, as a reminder, we're going to have 16 teams in this year's playoffs. So a lot more, 8 from each league. The wild card will be the best of 3, and the higher seeded teams will host the wild card. And then after that, what do we have here? After that, the division series, the ALDS will be in San Diego and Los Angeles, while the NLDS will be in Houston and Arlington at the new stadium down where the Rangers play. And then the league championship series, the ALCS will be in San Diego, the NLCS will be in Arlington, and then the World Series will be in Arlington as well.
Really setting it up for the Padres, right?
Well, the Padres are
They're doing cross league play. So the ALCS will be in San Diego and LA.
Understood. Okay, copy. Thank
So
you.
I think, they did that on purpose because obviously the Padres
Yeah.
and Dodgers are having good years. They can't have them playing at home.
I was going to say, they're really all in. At this moment, can you I mean, I look at the standings yesterday. Are the Yankees currently in or out if the playoffs were to start today?
I believe the Yankees are currently in, correct?
Because of the wild card?
Yeah.
Okay. But I know they've been
they've been hot.
Yeah, exactly. A couple big home run games in a row.
Yeah, the Yankees are in.
Yeah. All right.
They're a half game up as of last night, I think, on Toronto, or to start last night's play. So,
because we talked about this. I think I did the baseball preview to you guys, and we talked about how this is has real potential for an odd year, and we're seeing that. I mean, I don't know if people were like thinking the White Sox are going to be doing what they're doing. But I know Joe and I, had talked about the Twins and the A's maybe being in the mix. So that's going well. But man, I think it's hard for them to get to the bubble. The Cardinals are going to have to play doubleheaders the rest of the season. But I'm excited. I'm excited for baseball actually, just because I think it's going to be super weird.
Yeah, it's just wild to me that we're already at we're a week away from the playoffs or whatever. It just seems so fast. Like when baseball first started, I was like, you know what, they got going, and we'll have a season, and then playoffs will be playoff baseball, the right team. But like now, it's just crazy to me, and it's reflected in your favorite players' stats. It's like the idea of a 162 game season. Guys can go on 60 game slumps. Teams can go on 60 game slumps. I mean, think about the Nationals last year, a 60 game season. They don't make a 16 team playoff.
They were 1931 to start.
Yeah. The Dodgers a couple of years ago starting slow. The Dodgers a couple of years ago, in baseball, the beauty of the 162 game season, and you could argue it's a little long or whatever, is that it's like being a professional poker player. Like, it's not just all big all ins. It's like, this is a grind. You have to sit down and have a sandwich and have 162 games and stay healthy. So yes, somebody will be crowned a champ. But you got to wonder if even the best team in baseball will be on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I don't think they will be. I mean, I think they'll probably be in the 16. You can't be in the top 16, but at the same time, it's too weird.
Sure.
I haven't been following it as closely. Has there been any significant? I'm just curious about the health. Have players by and large stayed healthy during this shorter run? I can't think of any really major. I mean, I guess there's some Mets issues, right? But
yeah, every team's had a moment, but for the most part, they were all handled. And then the team misses a couple of games and they come back.
But we talking about no long-term injuries. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Right.
This is a question I want to ask both of you guys. We're watching baseball doing an abbreviated season, NBA doing some unusual rules in the bubble. Is anything going to stick? Are we going to see any of these changes? Maybe it's the NBA forever being start on Christmas Day situation. Do you think we'll see anything implemented now become permanent?
A NLDH, I think will probably stick.
Wow.
That hopefully the extra innings rule that everybody seems to hate will not stick. But I think an NLDH will probably stick. I mean, football in the NFL, it really seems like they haven't done anything different.
No.
So obviously in the NBA, the biggest change has been a bubble, which I kind of wish it would stick. But it won't, and it shouldn't. But yeah, I think that's what jumps out to me. I don't know what's going on in hockey or what's going on in some of the other sports.
The only thing I'll say about, and this is not not baseball, but the NBA, I think we might see that later start because
that would be great.
No one watches basketball that first month of the year. There's too much going on.
we've been saying on the show forever. And, Christmas Day is the unofficial start of basketball season.
Absolutely.
Well, I think there's too much going on now. I saw, me, gotta give a plug. I know Tug will chuckle at this, to the Wall Street Journal.
Debbie, Debbie from cutting your hair.
No, Debbie did a great job. But I'm always reading the Wall Street Journal, and
just so everybody knows, Andy sends me 5 to 6 articles a week from the Wall Street Journal, and I can read 0 of them because I don't have an account. So
I'm the same way. It's like the only 2 things you guys share with me are things from the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. It's like, is anybody using something that doesn't have a fucking paywall?
Yeah.
Hey guys, did you see this ESPN Insider article? I'm like, what kind of asshole do you think I am?
But their sports columnist, I forget his name, but he wrote, the headline was like, because of everything that's going on right now, right? Because you have Major League Baseball and the NBA playoffs and football. The headline was like, and I didn't read the article, but I got it because it made me think of kind of us. He wrote, I watch sports for a living and I can't keep up. It's like, and then he was talking about golf and, just everything is just happening right now. And like, are you guys feeling it where there's almost so much happening that you're missing stuff?
The first time I felt it was actually last night, which was a Wednesday night, because there was no basketball on for it seems like the first time in 2 months. So it was almost like, and I don't think there was any hockey either. So it was very weird. I really had nothing to, and the U.S. Open had not started till today. So it was the first time I was reminded, like, oh my God, I had something to do basically every night for the last 60, 70 nights. And there was some baseball, but I've been kind of glued to the bubble NBA playoffs.
Even during the day, I mean, now that we don't have basketball, now that it's gotten small enough that basketball is not starting at like 2 p.m. I'm like, fuck, come on, man! Like, I gotta wait till prime time for basketball.
I know, it was great to have like a 3 o'clock game, and it's been a lot of fun.
On Sunday for me, the idea of having 2 screens devoted just for the NFL these days is like, that's not even like, oh, you're crazy. Like, there's always at least 2 screens devoted to the NFL. Then I had baseball. Then I had playoff basketball. Girlfriend's a big tennis fan. She had the U.S. Open on. The U.S. Open of golf this week at Winged Foot is especially, in the 914. I'll probably be checking that out a little bit. So Sunday will be tough again. The U.S. Open of golf will replace the U.S. Open of tennis. There'll still be basketball. There'll still be tons of football games. Sundays are going to be tough. I'm thinking about getting a 3rd TV.
By the way,
Smart Studio.
I want to give, I get that Wall Street Journal subscription. I give a shout out to my dad, Walt, the Wall Street Journal. Big birthday today. He's 77. So, Pops, keep fighting. I know you're in a battle, but I got to see him the last 2 days. And keep being strong, Walt. Let's make it to 78, all right? And
he made it through Occupy Wall Street. He can make it through anything.
Exactly.
When a couple of Buffalo kids show up cooking hot dogs in your front lawn and you survive that, you should be able to take COVID.
Exactly.
Hey, big happy birthday, Walt.
Yeah. So happy birthday, Dad. Okay. You guys want to talk a little NFL?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
It's a moneymaker.
All right. Well, before we do that and go over the picks, we got to discuss our presenting sponsor for Thursdays during NFL season. Joe, our friends at Game Theory Picks, who provide profitable sports betting advice at an affordable price. Guys, if you're going to place bets during this NFL season, and we just talked about it, there's so many sports that you can get advice on right now because they're all playing. Subscriptions are weekly, monthly, which saves you 20%, or yearly, which saves you 50%. Since the return of sports in July, a $50 per play bettor would have profited just over $1,000 in their first few months of following Game Theory Picks. Receive your first month of Game Theory Picks for just $40, dirtballs. Simply visit GameTheoryPicks.com and use promo code NFL2020. Once again, that's GameTheoryPicks.com. Use promo code NFL2020.
I love Game Theory Picks. This, the last couple years or last few seasons, I was on their football picks, and now I took the NFL 2020 deal, and I've got all the sports. And I didn't realize how many plays come through. They email you whenever their algorithm, whenever their supercomputer, whenever Hal tells them that there's a play worth betting, you just get an email, and it'll be like, Padres game's about to start, take the over. And I love it. I love getting the email that just says, this is our play that's happening. And guys, the value on that for all the sports now is out of control. So I would take that. And Joe Praino's Sunday morning football picks this year officially sponsored by our friends at Game Theory Picks. So subscribe to me on Instagram at Joe Praino. Between me and Game Theory Picks, minding our supercomputers together, my brain, their Hal, we've got nothing but winners.
Exactly. So check
Especially
that out.
now that we've given up on the Falcons forever.
Yeah. Well, let's start off with this week's games. The Battle of Ohio tonight. The Browns are at home going against my hometown team. I'm going to word it that way. The Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns are 6-point favorites. They're coming off that beatdown by the Ravens. The Bengals, that heartbreak loss where the kicker faked an injury after completely shanking a 31-yard field goal. Tug, Joe, Battle of Ohio. It's on. Football's back. Which shitty Ohio team do you like tonight, and who's going to cover the spread?
I don't know if I would say I like anybody, but 6 points to me seems ludicrous for these dumpster fire franchises. So I'll just say that it's closer than 6.
I'm gonna agree. I feel the same way. Baker's getting a lot of analytic shade right now. There's a couple memes going out there where he had 3 wide receivers wide open, and he scrambled to the other side of the field. People saying he's spooked right now. I like Baker. I'm wondering if he woke up feeling dangerous. I'm not sure that he did. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. And one thing that's interesting about the Bengals, they're a lot of fun. They're going to be fun to watch. They're throwing 5 wide sets, 5 wide receivers out there, which is at a volume that I think has only been done twice in the NFL before. So they're hoping that Joe Burrow is out there to chuck. So let's hope we have some fun tonight and see some points. How can Odell be happy right now, though? Behind the scenes, Joe.
That's a great question.
Not producing, not getting targeted, not winning. Are we on the verge of seeing an early season meltdown from another assembled team for greatness?
The Odell in Cleveland situation is, and Odell obviously is an outspoken guy, but he is the perfect security blanket for the problems that Baker Mayfield has. Throw the ball to Odell within 1/2 of a second of it being snapped on a slant. Every single one of those that you complete has the potential to be a touchdown. Get rid of the ball. I can't say it enough. Through the last few years, I've just come around more and more. If you don't get rid of the ball, you're going to have problems across the board. Every player, every scheme, every franchise, every team. Stop talking to me about your O-lines. Stop talking to me about your receivers and your weapons. Get rid of the ball.
Yeah, it was Mike Francesa. Is it Francesca or how do you pronounce his name? Francesa was claiming they're trying to get rid of him, and then other NFL insiders.
Mike Francesa.
Well, yeah, exactly. Consider the source.
Yeah. The idea that Mike Francesa has had a career for as long as he has, talking nonsense. Mike Francesa is the Donald Trump of New York, of just sports talking heads.
Yeah.
He's been there for 40 years, being like, I think the Giants got to go ahead and get Patrick Mahomes if they want to win. If the Giants don't go get Patrick Mahomes, I don't know what they want to do. Taking your calls right now. Come up with your trade options for the Giants to get Mahomes, and you're like, dude, shut the fuck up. And honestly, I have lost friendships over the years because people told me that they used to listen to Mike and the Mad Dog or Mike Francesa. I go, well, we can't talk sports anymore because you're a fucking idiot.
You know who loves Francesa? He loves when people troll him.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember moving to New York in like 04 and seeing this guy on like Sunday Night TV, and I was like, "What? Who is this guy?" And it's like Mike Francesa, man. It's Mike Francesa. I'm like, I don't know. Okay.
No.
Although he played it very well in Uncut Gems. Great acting.
Very good.
Yeah.
And heck of a run, man. Should we all be so lucky to have the run that he's had? So,
I'm gonna concur with you guys though.
oh God, I'm gonna switch to the Browns.
Yeah.
For real?
I want to switch to the Browns.
Okay. I think
Hashtag fade Ruther.
Jesus, Tug. I mean, you didn't even let me finish.
Well, you know what? I started to think about it before. I was like, I think Andy's going to get. Anytime you're on it's double-edged sword. It's not a double-edged sword. It's a double down, right? Like you're going with the team that you left.
Well, I'm not going. I think the Browns win. I just think, again, it's a rivalry game of two crappy teams and two dysfunctional franchises. To me, 6 points is a lot, and I like the Bengals enough to keep that close.
Well, here's an interesting thing to think about, right? How much tape? Who does the short rest benefit? Does it benefit Joe Burrow because there's not enough tape on him, or does it benefit the Browns because Joe doesn't have the full week to prepare? You know, I think
it benefits a lack of points in general, and therefore
so under's our play.
Yeah, and also 6, like you're gonna have to score. Like, sure, you could win a game 14-7 and cover, but like to me, the bigger the spread, the more points you need to like pull away.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Joe, on to your team. The Giants are facing the Bears this week, where the Bears are getting 5.5.
My Giants had a hot and cold game on Monday night. I mean, there was moments of greatness from them, and meanwhile there was, same old Giants. I know the defensive line of Pittsburgh is really good, but you can't be getting Saquon Barkley hit before he leaves the backfield on literally every touch. So Giants still have offensive line problems. Danny Dimes threw some dimes and then had, a total bonehead interception. The interception that TJ Watt made, that's just a great play. I mean, you throw a screen and the defensive end jumps up and snatches it. I'm not going to kill the guy for that. But that one down in the red zone was horrific. The fact that they couldn't get in from the one after they recover that punt, horrific. Jason Garrett, like, so conservative. But, the one thing I did like about Jason Garrett is tons of tight end usage. It, like, every time they threw it to a tight end, it, like, kind of stabbed me in the heart because it made me think, like, that was Witten. All the times Witten killed us. The Giants didn't look great, but they didn't look horrible. I guess what I'm coming around to say is 5.5 seems like a lot to me against a Bears team that, played a terrible game for 45 minutes and then woke up against the Lions. I'm going my Giants.
I'm going to go with the Giants as well. I think the Steelers are a legitimate team this year. Not to bring fantasy too much into this world, but like I had Saquon on my team for the past 2 years. You see so many of these games from Saquon, and by extension, the Giants. 16 rushes for 5 yards. Like it's just brutal. And it comes back to the Jason Garrett where I get nervous that, like, where are we going to see some ingenuity? How are we going to, like, move people in space?
Yeah.
I understand the line. Like, the line is a real issue. But what you do see is, like, Slayton looks like a legit, it's nice to have, like, some legit targets out there out wide. Slayton looks like he's for real.
Yeah.
Slayton
is for real, for sure. And if you look at what Saquon did just in the couple of screens they get to him in the game, but, like, I hear the idea that, like, every team whose quarterback gets sacked has a bad O-line. Like, I'm just kind of like, the O-line is an excuse that a lot of people immediately, I just think a lot of people just don't know how to judge offensive line play, but I can tell you a very simple way to judge offensive line play. Offensive lines whose running backs are getting hit in the backfield on every play are bad. Great rushing teams have good to great offensive lines because you're going out there and that's when you are running into the defensive linemen and you are overpowering them. Like this idea that like, oh, our rushing offense is great, but like we can't pass blocks. Like, guys, get the ball out fast. But the Giants, Saquon Barkley getting hit before he takes the handoff, their offensive line is a dumpster fire. And I know that, Pittsburgh's defense is good, but like the Giants just don't do enough to improve it. And I just don't think Jason Garrett has the, acumen to overcome that. He wasn't great offensively when he was with Cowboys, and they had the best offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to creativity, I think. I just want to see some special stuff. You talk about tight end play. I mean, they did involve multiple tight ends, but they didn't involve Evan Ingram enough. But I think is one of the best players on the team. So start getting, your ball, the ball to your best players in space and let them make some plays. You know what I mean? So having said all that, it's the number feels a little large. And so you would think the number would be lower because the Bears actually came off and won. But so I'm going to read the tea leaves and take the Giants.
Voting guys.
Andy, you're cutting out. I don't know if you're maybe make an adjustment to your earbuds there.
Andy's so mad at us about our audiovisual skills.
Twist them in the hole, I think.
Excuse me?
No, I think mess with the connection where it meets the computer. I'll keep talking about. I think lose the headphones in general.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah. We got an echo, but it's better than not having an.
Damn it. I don't know what happened. I was going to say I am going to take the Bears.
Well, thank God my Giants are finally going to get a win.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Well, goddamn, this Zoom stuff. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
All right. Well, moving on, we have the.
You look 30. You look 30 years old with that haircut, by the way, and the shave.
Do I? Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm going to card you.
For my kombucha.
Yeah. 1.2% alcohol. Yeah.
Falcons, Cowboys. Tug, your boys.
Mm-hmm.
Tough loss last week to the Rams. They're 4-point favorites, though. I think this is a tough one right here.
I'm going to take the Falcons on this one. I think the Cowboys can win the game.
Where is this game? Where is this game?
Should be in Dallas. Andy, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
4-point game, high total, expect some scoring. Falcons can't stop anybody. Matt Ryan, my fantasy quarterback, is going to throw 65 times, hoping for a shootout. Cowboys, until I see different. Mike McCarthy was talking a lot of big game, a lot of analytics. He started running a lot on first down. We didn't see any of the creativity that I want to be seeing with multiple wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb basically being a wide receiver 1 as a wide receiver 3. The Cowboys are notorious for playing down to their competition. They're not great as favorites. I'm going to take the Falcons. And the last thing is Justice Mosqueda on Twitter has said that 8% of NFL teams that start 0-2 make the playoffs. This is basically a playoff game. Both teams are 0-1 with playoff aspirations. The loser essentially knocked out of the playoffs in week 2. I'm hoping the Cowboys have enough to get it done. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll maybe a late kick. Cowboys win by 3. Falcons cover.
I bet you that number's closer to like 45% in the NFC East. NFC East teams that start 0-2 win the division 47% of the time. So you got that going for you, but it certainly will have the feeling of a playoff game for the Falcons. I mean, this is tough for me because I really think that the Cowboys have been overrated for the whole offseason. I bet against them. I bet the Rams money line last week because I was like, how in the world does this line open up as a Cowboys favorite in Los Angeles? But also, I've been burned so many times by the Falcons that it's really hard for me to pick them. But I'm going to again. I promised my people that I wouldn't. I can assure you that I will not make this prediction on Sunday, and I will not bet this game. But I'm going to take the Falcons as well. Stupidly again.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try to fade both you guys again. And go.
You love the Cowboys. Cowboys are like one of your 5 favorite teams.
No, I don't actually have faith in them, especially with the 4-point spread. I think the Cowboys win.
You have more NFL teams than Tug has collegiate alliances at this point.
That's right.
No, not
like
at
a
all.
Virginia, Duke, Michigan, like Indiana State because he played Bird.
That's right. I do like Indiana. My wife's family's from there. My wife from Notre Dame. I'm into them. All those schools.
Ruther roots for like the NFC West, the Cowboys, the Chargers.
No, man.
Guy roots for a fucking division. You talk about you need a Rob Lowe hat that just like says NFC West on it. You need an NFC West hat.
I think the Cowboys are gonna come. They're gonna have to come ready to play. I think it's gonna be a good game, but I don't have much faith in this pick. But I'm gonna go with the boys. All right, moving on. Lions travel to Green Bay, where the Packers are 6-point favorites. I'm going to let you guys go with this. I'm going to go try to find another pair of headphones real quick because I think I know where some are, and I'll let you guys just go.
That's a great nugget right there, guys. We know where the extra set of headphones are.
I'm gonna take the Lions on this. 6 seems like a lot. Division game. Lions were leading that game last week and pissed it away. I feel like they have to come back strong. I don't hate this Lions team. I think the Lions are talented. I think probably a coaching problem. I've been saying free Matt Stafford for years. I am an unabashed Aaron Rodgers slurper. I think he's been disrespected. I think the Packers as a franchise have been disrespected this offseason because for some reason people have forgotten that they have Aaron Rodgers. I think that the Packers are going to be good again. I think Aaron Rodgers is elite. I think, he's still arguably one of the best quarterbacks in football. But I just think 6 is too much, and I'm gonna take the Lions.
I disagree with most of what you're saying, but agree with the results. I think it's just a number play, right? Like the Packers were -3 at Minnesota last week. I feel like the explosive week 1 for them, coupled with the Lions like late, loss, just kind of blew the line out a bit. The Lions had so much trouble winning at Green Bay for like 20 years. And then they've played really tough there the past couple of years. So I expect a bounce back game. Like you said, I probably think it's like a 3 or 4 point game. I expect Aaron Rodgers, who I don't think is elite anymore, to probably – one thing I always notice about Aaron Rodgers, he has an explosive quarter and then it kind of goes into hibernation sometimes. So I expect it to be like a 24-20 game. And I'll take the Lions.
How do you watch the throws that he makes last week and not like – so like what aspect of it – like this is the thing I have when people like judge players and they're like where they were to where they are now. Like physically he can still do it. So what's the issue?
I think it's just about I think it's sometimes – first of all, he owns Minnesota. He absolutely owns them. It's like he doesn't need to practice or think about that scheme. It's the same scheme every time. He torches them. I think if sometimes Aaron Rodgers, it's like you just rely on. It's a guy who knows. Obviously, I think 2011 to 14, 9 to 14, Aaron Rodgers is world class. I think he saw as an the arm talent. Put that on your bingo card for Dirty Sports. He's
making throws outside of the pocket.
I think something he likes. He's amazing at not throwing interceptions, but he's not the most accurate. Like I think it's still about fundamentals with his footwork and things like that. You can go through a litany of stuff. Look, he throws the incredible ball, right? He throws the incredible ball where there's no doubt. But sometimes he goes through a rough patch where he he misses targets. And I think, like, there's no question, if you needed some guy to thread a needle in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers is probably one of 3 guys that you're going to go look towards.
Now, what do you think of, like, did you watch that game last week? You watched
I
Packers
did.
Vikings?
It was unfortunately on my TV when I was in San Diego. Yeah.
Like he doesn't have wide receivers who are getting separation. He's got one guy who can win a one-on-one matchup, and yet, he's throwing the ball 40 times and he's throwing for 300 plus yards, and he's, making. I just think, like, again, the demise of Aaron Rodgers has been overblown. And shout out to our boy Pat McAfee, who now has him on like every Monday morning or every Tuesday morning. Like, to me, Aaron Rodgers being out there and being like, every week I'm going to go on like this major outlet and like chop it up like openly, not in a, glossy media way. I think that if I'm a division rival of the Packers, I'm scared that Aaron Rodgers is just like putting on a baseball cap and doing Pat McAfee's podcast every week, because he's going to have to answer for himself. I think you're confident about answering for himself every week.
I think you're right in one respect. He maybe there was like a lack of motivation in the past couple of years, because he is a Super Bowl champion. Like, everyone knows how good he is. But I'm wondering, I'm reserving the right to change my opinion. If the Jordan Love thing like lit a fire under him that we just don't know. Like, this organization's like, we believe in you, but we invest second round capital on a quarterback to be your replacement.
Also, no girlfriend right now.
No girlfriend. Yeah. So,
but also let's see if the lack of motivation ends up on Dak in Dallas right now. Let's see if that weird lack of motivation and all the things that came with the last couple of years of the McCarthy-Rodgers pairing.
It's true. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of talk from McCarthy about being out there, and I thought for the most part Dak played really well. It's, again, it'd be nice to have those game-winning drives, but there's got some stuff they got to work out for sure. But are we gonna really just pause for Andy? Should we just kind of plow through some of these picks?
Yeah, let's just, Andy, give us your pick, and then let's start ripping, because.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so these headphones work.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, let's move through some of these games. Who do you have?
Hold on, I didn't even make my pick. I just want to make sure the headphones work. Let's rip through these. I'm going to go with the Lions as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's good call.
All right, Jags, Titans. I don't care as much about this game, so let's definitely rip through it. Titans are 8.5-point favorites. I'm going to go with the Jags.
I was waiting on you, Tug.
That's a big line. It's a big number. I usually don't like to take 8.5. I think the Titans, they didn't look like obviously a lot of kicking issues from Monday Night Football. Derrick Henry didn't do much, but still gained a lot of chunks. Are the Jags any good? I'll take. I'm gonna go the Titans on this on a bounce back game.
I'm going with Tennessee on a bounce back game as well. I think if you watch the Minshew show the last couple of years, he does something that makes everybody boner out. The next week, everybody tunes in. He's a pedestrian quarterback. Everybody turns their TV off. He fucking goes crazy again. A bounce back game for the Titans, a bounce down game for Gardner again, which seems to be his style.
You and I are saying bounce back game in the sense they did win game one. It's just they just didn't look.
They didn't look great. Yeah.
All right, Vikings, Colts. The Colts are 3-point favorites. Both these teams need a bounce back game. I'm going to go with Phillip Fudge Rivers and the Colts in this one.
I mean, we talk about this, how hard it is for teams to make the playoffs when you're 0-2. I mean, I know the Vikings and the Colts obviously have playoff aspirations. My joke to Joe this week is that, you don't need to bring Phillip Rivers in to lose to Jacksonville. Jacoby Brissett can do that all by himself. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen.
By the way, sorry to cut you off, Tug, real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys saw this in that game. They brought in Brissett.
Oh, I tweeted about it.
What was that all about?
I said I tweeted that I think Reich needs to cut Brissett just so he doesn't get tempted to put it. It was like The play was just a debacle.
It was a mess, and then that was just that play, and then they was back out.
Yeah.
He's the Taysom Hill of the Colts now,
yeah,
apparently.
It's the Brashkoli package. That's what they call it.
I'm going to go with the Colts here just because the Vikings to me are just so boring. Like, I don't really want to see them be in the mix. Kirk let me down. This is a Stanga stat. Kirk Cousins was dominant at the 1 p.m. Eastern starting time slot against the spread standpoint. Let us down last week, so I'm going to continue to fade him and go. I want to see the Colts be good, so I'm going to go with the Colts.
I'm going to go with the Colts as well. We talked about. I don't need to talk anymore about Kirk Cousins and why I don't like this Vikings team. It's Kirk Cousins, by the way. But the Brashkoli, Rivers, the Colts quarterback situation, we talked about it last week of is Rivers washed or is Rivers just bad? And I said, I really just think that Phillip Rivers was literally born with the anti-clutch gene. They gave him extra genes in, having kids, and they gave him less in the clutch gene. And somebody shared this tweet with us. Phillip Rivers in the last 10 years in the final 6 minutes of one-score games has a 50% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 23 interceptions, and a 53.5 quarterback rating. That's over 10 years in one-score games. Phillip Rivers is anti-clutch. The end.
The only good thing he has going for him is he has a Spider-Man meme because he's got Kirk Cousins going against him.
Yeah.
So that might be the only way that we're going to get some, clutch things happening.
All right, moving on. We got an AFC East matchup. The Bills are at home against the Dolphins, where the Bills are 5.5-point faves. Now, the Dolphins stayed in that. It was a pretty tight game against New England last week. What do we see happening this week?
Very similar games last week for these two teams. It was like moments of brilliance and moments of ineptitude. The Bills almost let the Jets back in that game. 8 minutes into the game, the people who had bought their Josh Allen MVP tickets were bonering out, and then he's fumbling and throwing balls into the stands and doing all kinds of ludicrous things. And the Dolphins are the Dolphins are every team Ryan Fitzpatrick has ever played for. They're going to be dangerous, but also it could be a meltdown at any time. I think the Bills, if they want to be taken seriously, need to wax this Dolphins team. I'm going to take Buffalo.
I'm going to agree. I think the Bills show up this week and they run them pretty easily out of the field.
I'm going to go with Miami here because Ryan Fitzpatrick always gets up for the other 31 teams that he's played for previously. And the other thing I'll say is it feels like the AFC East, and Joe can speak on this better than I can, but like the AFC East feels like outside the Patriots, those teams beat each other up. Like it feels like one team blows up the other team, they go to the other arena or stadium, and the other team wins. Like who knows?
Yeah,
we have to remember that the Dolphins had a nice little run to end the year last year. Week 1, they played Belichick. Had 8 months to prepare for the Dolphins. It was a competitive game. They didn't know what Cam was going to do. I expect the Dolphins to be competitive in this game and keep it within a field goal, maybe even upset special here.
Well, this week I'm just excited to be watching games using my Miller Lite Cantenna, Joe Praino. Look at this thing.
I love it.
Do we still got to send you one of these?
I have not received one, so that would be great. Especially if I'm going to get a third TV, I'm going to need one. I don't need another digital box. I just need a Cantenna to get that one on the local game.
That's right, guys. Miller Lite has these amazing Cantennas because they want to bring fans together in a new way with the easy-to-use digital TV antenna, which has an actual beer can in here. I'm sorry, filled with actual beer. That's right. It's all in here. Miller Lite Cantenna. Stop clicking around on all these illegal sites. You don't need all that, guys. You literally just need the Miller Lite Cantenna. If you want to try to grab one of these for yourself, simply go to millerlite.com/Cantenna. Am I doing that correctly? No, I'm sorry. MillerLiteCantenna.com. That's what it is. So go to MillerLiteCantenna.com. Stop clicking around and start watching football with friends, because when it's game time, it's Miller time. No purchase necessary. They're holding a whole contest for this. The contest is going on right now. It started on 9/11. It ends on 10/12 at 11:59 Pacific Central Time. You must be a legal resident of the 50 U.S. D.C. states, 21 years or older, and these amazing cantenas are only available to residents of Colorado, District of Columbia, Florida, Idaho, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nebraska, Nevada, New York, North Carolina, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. Void where prohibited. See official rules at MillerLiteCantenna.com for entry instructions, prizes, restrictions, etc. I'll tell you what, fellas, that was probably the most difficult read I've ever had to do.
Honestly, my early favorite for a read of the year. I really enjoyed that.
I just like Pacific Central Time. Is that a wormhole that you have to step through to be in?
I was
Does anybody know Kirk Cousins' record at 1 p.m. Pacific Central Time?
I also like 50 DC states.
11:59 p.m. Central Time.
50 DC states. There's a can inside the can. It's all good.
Dude, anyway, MillerLiteCantenna.com. Look at this bad boy. Go enter right now. All right, moving on before I embarrass myself even more. The Niners are at home facing the Jets. The Niners lost last week. I think they're going to bounce back. They're 7-point favorites. I'm going all in on the Niners and Shanahan to bring it back to last year's level. What do you guys think?
I can't believe this line isn't higher.
I'm blown away.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like 10.5, 11. It's a touchdown. Yeah. That's crazy to me.
Unless there's something going on with the Niners that I don't know about. There's nothing going on with the Jets that I know about. They're just bad. They have a bad coach. They have a quarterback that's not getting better. They don't have any skill position players of note. They're traveling. I know east to west is easier than west to east, but if you're the Jets, I think traveling anywhere is difficult. So I'm going with the Niners.
I'm blown away by that line, and because of that, I got to take the Jets. I don't know what Vegas is thinking here with a touchdown favorite, unless you want to build in
Tug fading common sense. That's I like
fading common sense. I do. I'm fading common sense here and saying, give me the Jets, give me Adam Gase, give me his rivalry with Rich Cimini of ESPN, give me all of that. Give me Le'Veon Bell's hamstrings. Whatever, from the sideline. I have no idea why this line's only a touchdown, but maybe one thing we're not factoring in, the Super Bowl loser malaise is real.
I said that last episode. It is real.
So I'm going with the Jets here to cover.
All right. Next up, we have one of my 30 NFL teams that I root for. The Los Angeles Rams are traveling east to Philly to play the Eagles, where the Eagles, coming off that really bad loss last week to the Redskins, are 1-point favorites. I am going to go. It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. It's a good line.
Rams. I'm going to be a homer and go with the LA team and say the Rams win and cover, and the Eagles drop to 0-2.
To me,
it's a perfect
yeah. Go ahead. No, please go.
Oh, to me, this is like the overreaction game. I think Rams on Sunday Night Football, opening a new stadium, everyone getting up. I like the Rams. I like the Rams this year. The Eagles are such a mind-boggling team. Like, they don't make any sense. They never do. I don't know if Peterson is a good coach. They haven't been the same without Frank Reich. But as we said, the NFC East is craziness. Always has been, always will be. They've actually done really well against the Rams. And mitigated Aaron Donald in some previous games. So I think the line probably would be closer to 3 if they didn't blow up against the Washington football team and the Rams were to lose. So I'm going to take the line value and go with the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles as well. I don't want to. I'm the same as Tug. I like the Rams this year. But the Eagles just seem to me to have become this team that beats the teams they shouldn't, loses the teams they shouldn't. And it's one of the worst things that could possibly happen when your team becomes one of those franchises. It's a devastating thing to win or to live week to week. But they seem like that might be their team. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Rams blow them out, but I'm going to take the Eagles.
All right, moving right along. The Steelers are at home facing the Broncos, where they're 7.5. Ooh, that's a big
give me the
spread.
Broncos. Give me the Broncos. I know everybody's on the
Same.
bonering out on this Steelers team. Ben's back. Ben's healthy. There was a moment where Mason Rudolph was warming up. Like, let's tap the brakes on Ben Roethlisberger has returned. Like, people want to fucking dump on Aaron Rodgers, and yet Ben Roethlisberger's got to complete one screen pass and then put his arm into a sling on the sideline, have his backup warming up, and everybody's like, I don't know. I think they're contenders.
I agree. I'm going to go with the Broncos here, just because I'll turn the mic to you, Andy. We're not saying the Broncos are going to win. Can we trust Vic Fangio in late minute situations? We obviously can't. They lose a ton of games in the last 2 minutes or a minute of football. But the home field advantage they're playing in Denver again, right? Are they playing in Denver?
I'm just assuming Pittsburgh, right?
Okay, so they're playing in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So I just feel like Denver looked the offense needs to kind of wake up a little bit, but I think that number is a little bit large. So I'll take the Broncos.
Yeah. So I think we're all going to agree. Did we lose Tug?
No, he's back.
Okay, there he is.
No, I'm back.
Okay. All three are going to take. All of us are going to take the Broncos to cover. All right. Moving on to the later games of the day. I'm sorry. We got one more. The Panthers travel to Tampa, where the Bucs are 7.5. Wow. A lot of trust in Brady that they're going to bounce back big time against the division team. I'm going to go with the Panthers in this one. It's just too big of a spread for me.
I am too. I think they looked better than I thought they would against the Raiders. I know it's the Raiders. It just seems high.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here. The Rams, the Panthers have given up 3 touchdowns in every game of the last, there's some crazy stat, like the last season and now one game. So there's going to be a lot of points. I feel like, the Saints are a very good team.
Wait, Tug, what game are you on?
You're talking about the Buccaneers and Panthers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
The Saints are a very good team.
Okay.
The Buccaneers played them last week.
Gotcha,
so if you let me finish my point.
Sorry.
Can I finish?
So I think I'm looking to fade the Bucs when I can this year, but I can't do it this week. So I'm going to go with the Bucs.
All right. So Joe and I are going to take Panthers. You're going to take the Bucs. All right. The Washington football team, God, that's never going to get old. I love saying that. The Washington football team travels to Glendale to face the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites.
Look, I like what the Cardinals are doing. I don't think Washington is good, but the Washington pass rush is decent. I know Kyler is, can counteract that with his speed and his elusiveness. But should the Arizona Cardinals be favored by 6.5 over anybody?
It's a great question.
I'm going to say no.
You just swayed me. I'm going to go with Washington football team as well.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point. I was thinking too. I like where Arizona's headed. I think they're moving 100% in the right direction, but that's a big spread. For that reason, we're all going to go the Washington football team. All right, the Chiefs play my season ticket holder Chargers. They're 8.5-point favorites. I'm going to go Chiefs hands down. I know the Chargers usually play them tough. Tyrod Taylor, come on, guys. He just can't put up enough points to keep up with Patrick Mahomes.
Agree.
Yeah, I want to agree. I'm going to look to fade the Chiefs and probably lose a lot of money. I'm going to take Andy's LA Chargers here because I think their defense is legit. I don't expect them to shut down Mahomes, obviously, but I expect enough for maybe a 28-20 game. Get that half point. I'll take the hook.
All right. The Ravens
I would just like to predict right now that Tug will feel great about his pick the entire game until about 4 minutes left in the fourth, and then the wheels will fall off. You'll lose 100%. Lose by 100%.
It's a great 100%. Call. Yep. The Ravens are at home where they face the Texans. They're a 7-point favorite. I'm going to go Ravens. I think the Texans have a rough year. I think they win 6 or 7 games. I think they drop off that much.
I'll take the Texans.
I'm going to take the Ravens. I think everybody kind of wants to think that this, the Ravens thing is like that they're too good to be true. I know they had their playoff struggles, but like it seemed like last year the lines just kept getting bigger and they just kept covering them. And I couldn't agree more with the Texans are a dumpster fire. Bill O'Brien's a boob. They'll probably be in this game, and fuck me, but I'm not betting on them. That's for sure.
All right, Sunday Night Football, the Patriots against the Seahawks. I'm sure Praino thinks are two of my teams facing each other head to head.
Yeah.
The Hawks are 3.5-point favorites, and got to give some love. My DMs have been on fire, absolutely on fire this morning after what Bill Belichick said about my boy, Mr. Unlimited. And he said, I quote, "I don't see really anybody better than this player," referring to Russell Wilson. "This guy's a tremendous player. Thinks he's underrated." What a great compliment from the best coach of all time about Russell Wilson, Praino. How does that make you feel when you hear that?
Couldn't agree with Bill more. He's playing the Seahawks this week. He's doing his early week press conferences. He has jumped aboard. Bill Belichick, in the week he is playing the Seahawks, is very heavily and publicly pushing, let Russ cook. I mean, talk about coaching genius, coaching strategy, basically taunting Pete Carroll into letting Russ cook this weekend. Strategy, like the mind games have reached new levels. Also, if we take it at face value and we believe that Bill Belichick believes what he's saying, I just would like to ask, does anybody in this Zoom chat think that Patrick Mahomes is not the best quarterback in the NFL?
Well, he's clearly the best quarterback.
Tug, who's the best quarterback in the NFL?
Mahomes.
Okay, so if we take Bill Belichick's comments at face value, we all disagree with them.
Yeah, we all can look into that and say he's definitely a top 3 player. But anyway, that's for many other discussions. Joe, you're going to be
also the other thing about his face value, he said he's underrated by the media and fans. I'm not sure Bill Belichick has ever listened to one thing media or fans have said. But again, if we take him at face value, is Russell Wilson, like, I don't think the media and the fans that is the basis for the entire Joe Praino argument. Russell Wilson is great. Also, the media and fans overrate him.
Okay.
Well, so who do you have?
I'm going to take 3.5?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Ooh.
They're favored by 3.5.
Correct.
Yeah. I'll take the Patriots.
I'm going to take the Patriots as well. I think the Pats defense is too good, and that half point to me is the big decider right there.
Good. I don't
think it's the defense.
I hope you're right.
I know. Belichick is just so good. So
yeah,
I'll take points anytime with Bill Belichick.
All right, and our last game, Monday Night Football, is going to be, who is it? It's the Saints and the Raiders, correct?
Yes.
Why they don't have this on this? Oh, okay, I find it somewhere else. All right, so let's do the Saints and Raiders. We have the Saints are 5.5.
In Vegas, right?
In
Correct.
Vegas.
In the new
the
stadium.
Opening of Vegas. The line has come down. This is their first game in Vegas. That's all the Raiders fans betting on it. I think Vegas, the casino, not Vegas, the city, had it right at first, and I'm going to take the Saints to cover. I think a lot of turned Raiders fans have brought that line down.
I agree with you, Joe. I think the Saints cover.
I'm going to go with the Raiders here for a couple of reasons. My phone might die, and my wife might yell at me for wanting to get off so she can do her work. A couple things. The Raiders, I totally hear you guys on the Raiders fans driving the line down. Saints are not great on the road. We all know this. I'm curious to see how well the Vegas team gets up for this. I do think they show up, and I'll take points. And I'll go to Vegas too and celebrate with my degenerate friends.
All right. Well, those are our week 2 picks, and that is the show. Tug, I know you have to go, but one more time, tell all the listeners and all the dirtballs where they can find you.
Do it for America, guys. I'm wearing my, Miracle on Ice shirt today to celebrate America as we celebrate a big holiday today. Now we're talking season 2, 1 and 2. Both seasons are on CW, Seed, SEED. It's an app you can get on your Apple TV, your Roku, your Fire Stick, your phone, your computer. Just add it to your whatever apparatus you need. Go check it out. A lot of great guest stars. You'll see Andy and Joe on the show. Thank you to everyone for staying patient. Follow me at Tug Coker on Twitter and Instagram. I got a bunch of great videos and bits coming on from the show. So thanks again for all the support. Thank you to you, Andy and Joe, for supporting me and having me on the show and having me on the show throughout the years. Obviously, I love coming on with you guys. So thank you so much.
Well, Tug, we love having you on. And I was just thinking, you released the episode on the day of my dad's birthday. And obviously, he's really fighting hard in the hospital. I think I should just he might be in a medically induced coma right now, but I think I've been playing music for him. I should play for him Now We're Talking. So
I think it's a great idea.
So it can hopefully up his spirits, and then he can hear my amazing acting ability and help, bring Walt out of his funk, and we'll get him back home and healthy, all because of you.
It's a win-win, baby. I love it. Thank you so much. It's I think the show's really fun. It came out nicely. They've done some censoring of the language, unfortunately, but so you can tell your parents and your friends you can watch it with confidence, because we've done an Arrested Development style of using the bleeps for comedy. So check out that, and hit me up on Tug Coker on Twitter, Instagram if you have any questions on where to find it or anything else.
Don't follow me on Twitter at Fix Your Life. Instead, watch Now We're Talking. Don't follow me on Instagram at Joe Praino. Instead, watch Now We're Talking. Don't follow me on Venmo and donate money to me. Instead, watch Now We're Talking. Also, follow my Instagram for pics.
Exactly. Go watch Now You're Talking. That is your homework.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Jesus Christ.
Now you're talking, I believe, is a Bruce Willis talking baby movie.
Look who's talking.
Guys, go watch Now We're Talking. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Tug. Thanks, Praino. Fun as always. And don't forget, stay dirty.
Bye, guys.